Hello and welcome to English for a Better World. Last week in lesson 9, we looked at the concept of work and we discussed how work is actually love made visible because it's through work that we express our creativity, we express ourselves, we express our love for other people, Ubuntu. So today we will look at a concept that is often seen as the opposite of work, leisure or leisure. So, what comes to mind when you think of leisure? Now, let's look at the definition of leisure. It's a noun, and leisure is a time when you are not working and you can relax and do things that you enjoy. You're just chilling out, you're doing nothing. Well, let's see. Let's look at some pictures and you decide if this picture is work or leisure. So let's begin with the first one. How about this one? Does it look like work or leisure, free time activities, what people do to enjoy their free time, just chilling out, playing the guitar and singing? All right, so this is for you guys to judge, to decide. Is it leisure or work or both? The next one, gardening. How about this activity? Is it leisure? Is it work or both? Now, how about this one? I think you know what this is. This is a sweatshop. This cannot be leisure at all. So today we will look at that concept. Work is active leisure. Our vocabulary, we will describe leisure, and grammar, you will learn how to make suggestions. And finally, we have a lecture or a talk, work versus leisure. So now let's begin with vocabulary. Find the odd one out. Leisure, work, free time. Boring, dull, dumb. Pretty much, besides, almost. Means, way, end. Forced labor, internal desire, external constraint. Emotionally, physically, mentally. Engaging and fulfilling, challenging. And now you know what to do next. To see this vocabulary in context, just do the exercise. Circle the correct answer. Pause the video and enjoy this exercise. Next, let's think deeply about these quotes. Food for thought. The first one, take a look at the picture and I think it says a lot. Leisure, a fancy word for people who don't want to admit they are bored. Well, basically what it means is that when your work is boring, you look forward to leisure. Well, it's like you're working for the weekend, as we discussed last week in lesson 9. Next one, leisure is work without external constraints. What do you think of this one? It's something that springs from within. It comes from inside. And let's look at the third quote. The end of labor is to gain leisure. And obviously here, work is seen as a means to another end. So we have work days and weekdays. And people look forward to retirement to enjoy their life. Isn't it really sad? Well, because if you look at the last picture, children, do you think children actually know the distinction between leisure or work before even they start work or start doing their homework? In leisure, we reveal what kind of people we are. What we do, what we enjoy doing is an expression of our choice. But work is not an expression of our choice. It's forced, it's external constraint. So think about these quotes and share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Now let's ask some people about their opinion about leisure. What is leisure? Ali. For me, leisure time is when I'm free to do what I like, whatever it is I like to do, like reading, writing, dancing, singing with friends, or gardening when and if I have a garden. Mary, what is leisure? Leisure allows a person to step back and be released from stress and boredom. It can give them something really fun to do, and it can be anything of your choice. Again, the key word here is choice. So what about you guys? Do you agree with Mary? Ibrahim, what is leisure? The more rewarding work is, the more similar to leisure it becomes. If people were free to choose their job, work would be leisure. Sadly, very few people get to choose what to do for a living. Well, this one expresses my view, and I totally agree with this. Next, we have a dialogue. So listen to three people discussing leisure and what they want to do in their free time and answer the questions. So look at the pictures. Well, you have video game, walk in the park, TV kills, and eating out. And yeah, I think TV kills. All right, so go ahead, listen, and answer the questions. Maria, hey guys, what would you like to do this evening? Ali, how about playing chess? Ben, sounds good, but not now. Ali, so what do you think we should do? Maria, I have an idea. We could watch that documentary I told you about, the one about global warming. Ali, I have heard a lot about it. Ben, to be honest, I'm not in the mood for watching anything right now. Why don't we just take a walk in the park? Ali, okay. As a matter of fact, this is a popular leisure activity in Iran besides eating out. Maria, how do Chinese spend their free time? Maria, Chinese do a lot of sports, but these days they spend a lot of time watching TV and playing video games. Ben, this is true about everywhere. In fact, people the world over do pretty much the same stuff for fun. Personally, I stopped watching TV because it's such a waste of time. I think the more people watch TV, the dumber they become. Ali, I feel the same way. Almost all TV channels are owned by private businesses, and that's why you see lots of commercials on TV. The idea is to get people to buy the stuff they make. I find it boring to watch TV. Maria, I know what you mean. Sometimes I feel that everything is produced for commercial purposes. Well, let's take a walk first and then watch a documentary. Well, now finish these sentences. We have football, we have documentary about capitalism, we have reading books, Age of Anger, a history of the present. I can't recommend it highly enough. And of course, we have another documentary, Manufacturing Consent. So I actually recommend both of these documentaries, Capitalism, A Love Story, and Manufacturing Consent. And finally, we have, I don't know if you know them, but they are Massacre Kids, amazing dancers. So I find football interesting when I play it, actually, not when I watch it. I don't watch it. Watching documentary films sounds great. Reading books sounds enlightening. I find dancing uplifting. Watching TV sounds boring. Well, this is how I feel about these activities. How about you guys? Share with us your thoughts, your feelings in the comment section below. Now we have lecture, a short talk comparing and contrasting leisure and work. So you will listen to this lecture and then answer questions. Read the questions first and then listen to get an idea of the content of what the lecture is about. You can also look at the pictures because they will also tell you something about the lecture. Leisure under capitalism is seen as an activity where one is free to choose one's own action as an end in itself. By contrast, work under capitalism is seen as an activity where one is forced to do a certain action as a means to an end. This split between work and leisure is one of the defining elements of wage labor under capitalism, as labor itself is so unfulfilling that it requires leisure time to balance it. The current system creates a situation where a worker does not fulfill himself in his work but denies himself, has a feeling of misery rather than well-being, does not develop freely his mental and physical energies, but is physically exhausted and mentally debased. The worker, therefore, feels himself at home only during his leisure time, whereas at work he feels outside of himself. His work is not voluntary but imposed forced labor. It's not the satisfaction of a need, but only a means for satisfying other needs. Marx. The point is that when our work is a satisfaction of a need, it can be leisure as well because it flows from an internal desire rather than external constraint. To put it differently, any activity that is mentally, physically, or emotionally engaging and challenging can be both work and leisure at the same time. All human time is free time in nature. We can choose when, what to do within limits of survival. And the capitalism, humans need to work to earn money to live. They have no choice on whether or not to work. Therefore, leisure is just the illusion of free time, something first stolen and then sold back to people through leisure activities, which are commodities and therefore require the worker to earn enough to afford them, further preventing any freedom from work. Furthermore, while advances in technology have led to quick and massive production, this has not translated into less work for workers. In fact, most people work more now than ever before as a result of limitless materialism, where the desire to have more material items may lead to the desire to work more, and so people end up having less free time. In turn, the desire for more material stuff comes from the need to make more and more profit. For instance, it's not a coincidence that shopping has become a favorite pastime when capitalists ended up producing lots of stuff that needed to be sold. The best way to make the most of our leisure is to get rid of the separation between leisure and work. Unfortunately, this is very difficult for most people as the means of production are owned by few capitalists, and so most people are not free to choose what to do for a living. Finally, our grammar focus, how to make suggestions. We use these expressions to make suggestions. Why don't you go hiking? We could go hiking. Let's go hiking. What about going hiking? How about going hiking? Well, let me just point out that the first three expressions, why don't you, we could, let's, they are followed by base form of the verb. As you can see, go, go, go. But how about and what about are followed by ing. Okay, so what about going hiking and how about going hiking? Now complete the dialogue below using the expressions above. Pause the video and complete the dialogue. Well, this is the end of our lesson, but it's also the end of pre-intermediate level. From next week, we will start intermediate level, and the first lesson is actually quite exciting. I shop, therefore I am. I think you can guess what that is all about. So, see you next Saturday.